What up, what up, what up? So, I don't know, I guess I always think that all my videos are pointless, but it ends up helping somebody, and quite frankly, I'm trying to make some more content, and not necessarily the same content over and over again, so I kind of just wanted to tell you about myself a little bit. Hi, my name's Cardo. I was born in America, born in PG County, 1986. I have Filipino, Panamanian, Italian, American Indian, I think it's Cherokee, all bunched up together, making little old Ricardo. Ever since I can remember, I've always been a affectionate person. I've always been a lover. I've always been that type of guy that, well, back then when I was immature, I always wanted a girlfriend just because I love loving. I love being affectionate. I love putting you first. I just love that aspect of life. Like, I live for that shit. And I've always been the type to want to settle down, and granted, don't get me wrong, I've cheated once and I regretted it. Why? Because I was listening to the distractions around me when I was younger, one of my first girlfriends, and I fucked up and I cheated, and eventually I came clean and never did it again. At least not that I can remember. Actually, you know what? It doesn't really count because we were broken up. So, yes. I vowed to myself that I would never do that because of the feeling that it gave me. And well, of course, I've been single for like 6-7 years now, but it is what it is. But all of my relationships, the first girlfriend I dated, a couple years. Second one, I think, was like 3 years. And then the one where I really fell in love in 9th grade, I dated her for almost 5 years of my life. And I learned a lot. I always told myself that, hey, even though we're breaking up and it looks negative and it seems negative, take something positive that you've learned, or that you've learned, and use it for the next girl that you do end up coming across. And I've literally taught myself, how to be a good partner, I was never into that whole cheating and fucking all these bitches and all this other shit. It just wasn't me, man. It never was me, because I knew that sex and doing that kind of stuff would hurt people. And sex is important to me, and not in a sense of that I need to have it. I just, when it comes down to it, like, I try not to play games with people, or, just have sex with random people, because it does nothing for either one of you, except for, you get to bust one real quick, and, eventually you never get satisfied, because you can just continue to do it, and it is what it is. But I was a athlete. I played baseball. I played basketball. I didn't play basketball on a team or anything like that. But I loved basketball. I loved football. But I played baseball, and I played baseball from T-ball all the way up until 10th grade, I think, 10th or 11th grade. I tried out for the, I think it was varsity as a 10th grader. I made it, and then I've quit right after tryouts. And my coach was like, dude, what the fuck are you doing, man? You made it. He was like, you don't understand, like, people die for this shit, and you made it, and now you're going to give up your spot. And at that point in time, I wanted to be a skateboarder, and I was all into fucking skateboarding, and you know, wanting to become a professional skateboarder, this, that, and the third, whatever. So I did. Oh, I didn't become a professional skateboarder, but I took skateboarding, and you know, and I learned. I hurt myself a lot. I learned a lot, and I can still do it to this day. And I fucking still love skateboarding. I just don't ever have the time to do it, nor do I have anybody to skateboard with, or have a place at my house that I could do it. But let's see. I think when 9/11 happened is when my suspicion grew as far as something's not right. I've always told my dad since I was a child that we're not supposed to live like this, and he always asked me to explain myself, but I never could. And I tried to explain the best I could, like, hey, we're not supposed to live like this as far as, you know, how society is and the money and working and all that. Like, it's just not how it is. We're supposed to be in tune with the earth and be loving people and do right by everyone, you know. But now I completely understand what it is, you know. But so I got out of high school, never really smoked weed or did any other kind of drugs or experimented at all. So I told myself, I was like, shit. I was selling weed at the time when I got out of high school. I had a job, but I told I didn't have a job. I told myself, I took off 2 years of my life and said, you know what, I'm gonna fucking party, I'm gonna get it in, I'm gonna experiment with different drugs just to get it out of my system, so that when I'm 32 or when I'm 30, in my 30s or however old I was gonna be, that I wouldn't be like, man, I'm curious, you know. I don't know. I always had this mentality where I was like, you know what, let me get this shit out of my system now, so that when I'm older, I don't even have to think twice about it. I already know what's up. And I did. I had fun, you know, did what I did, and then got the fuck out of it, you know. What else? But I think, I'm trying to think. Honestly, I started working at 14 and a half at Chick-fil-A. Best job I've ever had. I miss it so much, because at this point, if I would have stayed, I'd be running a Chick-fil-A, no doubt in my mind, because by 17, I was a shift manager, and I was ordering the store for my boss. I was counting down drawers. I was customer service. I was all that, you know, going to the meetings and all that good stuff, man. I really enjoyed it, you know. I took to work very, very well. And then after that, I think I got a job at American Eagle part-time, just so I could get the discount on the clothes. Stocked up on some clothes, and your boy was fresh. Then saw this fucking girl, man. Oh my God, I saw this girl. And I did not give a fuck who she was, what she was, what she had going on. I did not care. All I knew is that I know that I want to fall in love with you, and I want to love you. I want to be everything that you want and need. And I told myself that I don't give a fuck what it takes, even though, because I'm terrified as shit, and I always thought that, God, she's so out of my league. I mean, the girl was fucking beautiful. And so I kept seeing her, you know, and then eventually, through mutual friends, we would hang out every once in a while. And, you know, what really, I guess, did it in was, you know, her boyfriend was cheating, and she found out the wrong way. And I told her, I was there for it, you know. I held her, let her cry in my arms, and told her everything was going to be all right. And, you know, just gave her everything that her ex-boyfriend wouldn't give her. And that sparked a relationship in 2007, and that relationship lasted till 2012, and it was the best years of my entire life. Why? Because I fell so hard for that girl that till this day I still love her, man. And even if she ever did come back around and said she wanted to take another stab at it, I would not hesitate, and not even for a half a millisecond. I wouldn't do it. Why? Because there's just something about her that I know in my heart is the realest shit, and I don't know. It's just you just know when you see somebody that you like or you loved, and you just know. You don't have to have a reason why, but it's just one of those things where you're like, you know that I'll fall in love with you and I'll never let go, and that's literally what happened. You know, till this day. It's not like I'm not obsessed over her, and I'm not depressed sitting in my room like waiting for her to come back. Like, no, I've moved on, but she holds such a delicate, soft part of my heart that I would do anything for her, and I would do anything for her right now. You know, and that's just how she made me feel. I mean, no girl in this entire world has ever made me feel that way, ever. Alright? And she's just it. Like, it's something spiritual, something soul that tells me that she is the one, man. And I've stuck by that, you know. I've created intentions and, you know, thought patterns and stuff like that would maybe draw her to me. And, you know, and I'm not necessarily saying like completely draw her to me, but in a sense draw her to me. And then, you know, still to this day, I like to think that we're good friends, you know, and there is this mutual attractiveness, if that's a word, and there's built up something there, and it just can't really, nothing can really happen just because of, you know, two different lives. But I've never let go of her, and I don't think I will. I really don't. And I'm just being honest. Because I've never loved somebody so much. And she's it, man. She's it. Maybe she'll see this, maybe she won't. Who knows? But I knew from the time that I seen her that I never wanted to let you go, even though at that time I didn't have you in my grips. But I finally got a taste of it, and boy, oh boy, did she take my motherfucking heart and soul. And that's okay, man. She can keep it, and I'll see her when I see her, because it's inevitable, man. It's inevitable. You know, a lot of the guys she's dated after me are, you know, we're decent. You know, I'm not saying any of them are fucking horrible people, but, you know, they're just not fulfilling her needs and her heart, you know? And I know that I can do that. And I believe she knows I can do that too. It's just, you know how people are in relationships, you know, they get comfortable, you know, they fall in love, and, you know, they don't know, they're so engulfed in each other's lives that to break up just seems like your whole world's gonna fall apart. And I get that, you know, and I told her if it ever happened that I would be there to catch her when she falls, and I wouldn't let go, you know. What else can a girl ask for? For a guy who got cheated on, found out, later on forgave her, and told her, you know, it's not your fault. Like, I mean, it's not, I mean, it was her fault because she did it intentionally, but I didn't knock her for it. I didn't judge her for it. You know, things weren't great between me and her at the end, and I accepted that, you know. But I love her to death, man. You guys don't understand. Like, I love her so much, and it does break my heart that we can't be together, you know? But I know that one day we will. And when it happens, I cannot wait to show her off and tell you guys. Because that'll make me real happy. It really will. But yeah, so, I mean, after that, or after, dating around, I might have dated one other person for a couple months and then realized that she's just not for me, for whatever the reason was. And, I dated another girl for probably about a year and ended up finding out she was fucking psycho. So beautiful. I mean, you talk about, she was half black and half Mexican, and oh my God. You want to talk about fucking beautiful? Holy shit balls, Batman. She was gorgeous, man. She was fucking gorgeous. She had that curly, thick hair. She had that dark complexion. I love some melanin. Boy, oh boy. You want to get to my heart? Girl. But she was asleep. She didn't get where I was coming from, and she didn't understand, like, this whole, Illuminati thing and everybody being asleep. She just didn't get it, and eventually I guess it irritated her. But at the same time, like, she had a kid. I tried to help her with the kid because the guy wasn't doing nothing for them, and she took offense to it. Like, you're not the father of my son. You need to step the fuck off. And I'm like, well, excuse me, but if we're going to be together, I'm trying to help, but she didn't get it, and that's okay. So eventually I said, peace, can't do it no more, and we split ways, And I mean, she was so insecure that she told me straight to my face, I don't want to hear anything about your exes. I don't want to hear anything about having sex with other people, because as far as I'm concerned, when we met, you were a virgin and I was a virgin, and I don't want to hear any of that because it'll piss me off. And that right there is some fucking weird shit. Like, we could be married and you could be talking about your exes and anything, that shit doesn't bother me. Why? Because we're together and I know that you love me, and that's all that fucking matters. The past is the past. You can't hide that shit. But this girl seemed to think that that was the right thing to do, and it backfired. But it's all good. She was so fucking beautiful, though. So yeah, so then after that, I vowed to myself, like, yep, I am definitely going to take it slower. I'm going to, do my thing, and I'm going to hunker down, and I'm going to start figuring out, this conspiracy shit, whatever, what's really happening in the world. And 6 years later, or 4 or 5 years later, however long it was, I'm here, I'm still single. Not necessarily out looking or actively looking for a girl. I kind of want to just have her fall in my lap, or us cross paths, because I don't know. I don't want to force anything, It's not who I am. But yeah, and ever since I figured out this conspiracy stuff, I never looked back. Why? Because I knew that once I figured out some shit, that there was going to be more to it, and you can't go back to sleep. I mean, you can if you want, but now you're deliberately fucking yourself because you know that something's wrong in this world, but you're choosing to ignore it, and that's the worst thing anybody could do. And, yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else important that happened in my life. I have a wonderful dad. I have a wonderful mother. who I still live with right now. Well, we're all like roommates. Me, my brother, my mom, and my sister. And my dad remarried, and he lives not too far away. But we have a great relationship. I have a great relationship with my mother. I work with my mom. I'd do anything for my mom, and I'd do anything for my dad, man. I'd take a bullet for each one of them if I needed to. No questions asked, no hesitation at all. My dad has the coolest fucking job. He is, I guess it'll be controversial, but he actually is one of the main guys that works on the printing presses in DC to make sure that they can keep printing money. And I know that sounds so bad because the devastation that it has on society because of the people who are telling them to print the money. It's a bad thing in that sense, but at the same time, my dad is a smart dude. He was an electrician, became electrical machinist, and can take apart one of them machines and fucking fix it like that, man. Like, my man is a smart dude, and I admire the shit out of that, man. I just always was the type of guy, I was hoping that he had his own business, because I was always that guy who wanted to take over and represent for my family, represent for my dad, in that type of way. And my mom, had her government job. She was a secretary at a law firm, and eventually, once whatchamacallit, give me some light. There we go. Once she kind of fell into depression, and she quit that job, and then she went to the hardware store where I'm at, and she's been there ever since, and yeah, I have a brother and a sister. We're all 2 years apart each. Well, me and my brother are 2 years apart, and then my sister's four years apart. I was born on December 11th. Sagittarius in the house. Yeah, I've had struggles. I've had depression. I've cried many nights. I've had breakups. I've had makeups. Just like any other normal person. A lot of people think I'm nuts because of the shit that I talk about and how I perceive things. People think I'm fucking crazy or I have a mental issue, but I just wanted to make this video for them to kind of get them to understand that, hey, I lived a fucking normal life too. It's not like I was some fucking recluse, in my room and never come out. It was never that way. I was always an open guy and willing to, fight for society, for the good, the greater good, and all that good shit, yeah. I guess that's it. My hair used to be short, now it's all long, and I don't think I'll ever cut it. Why? Because it's an extension of your nervous system, and you become more aware. You become more aware in your sleep, and you draw on energy and all types of shit. It's fucking awesome, But other than that, if there's anything you guys want to know about me, leave a message down below, and yeah, I'll get back to you. But that's a little insight into my life. Like I said, if anybody wants to know anything more, come holla at your boy, and we can go from there. But love you guys. Have a wonderful day, wonderful night, or morning, whichever you are in right now. Peace.